Hello and welcome to this edition of Nerdy Thursday on Big Sky 35. Almost forgot to introduce who I am. If you're new to the channel, I'm getting new viewers here and there. So, welcome to this part of my channel where I talk about other things that I hobby other than cards and sports, uh, other things I nerd about, which is, Star Wars. Just happen to be wearing this shirt. Next up in the thing. But uh, today I want to talk about, I found a new, well, I got told about, and next time I go, I should have did it. I was thinking about it this morning. I should have took video of it if they'll allow me and show it to y'all next week. Really cool Star Wars spot. It's in an antique mall. It's called the Star Wars store. And then inside that store, they have different. If you ever been to an antique mall, everybody has their little nook and they sell their little items in there. You take it up to the front and it's marked by who gets whatever. I've just been founded on it. I knew about them. I just never thought by going in. I know I've watched people go in them and found cards. I just didn't, or items. I forget how old I am and like how things are. And there is stuff that would like to find in there, sports related. If I do, I'll pick them up, or just and then also pop culture related. Uh, like you find Burger King glasses and the McDonald's glasses, and especially those Burger King glasses. If you grew up in the '80s, even '70s, they're pretty cool. They've had the Dixie cups. Somebody had 22 different Dixie cups with Star Wars on it you could have bought. I'm like, as soon as you open up probably the wrapper, they disintegrate. If you remember those old style Dixie cups, as soon as you put water in it, you better drink it fast or it's going to collapse. Uh, so let's get to it. So these are well, before I do that, I like to show you like some of the nerdy stuff sometimes that I already have, or so I brought when I moved here this year. I haven't been here quite a year yet. I moved with a large comic book uh, BCW case. If you're not familiar, they're cardboard. Uh, they fit the your comic books in them, and also have some hardbacks and stuff like that. That thing was a monster to pick up. I suggest not getting those and getting the smaller ones and just buy more of those because for mobility reasons. And that thing, when you try to put it somewhere, the weight is just really bad. So I've been going through that. I've had some comic books from when I was a kid, but I have been in the last few years picking up more and more because, like Star Wars, I love Justice League, uh, Batman. I've been reading the Batman Detective series. Been getting back into those and trying to backfill what I'm missing in those. Not so much Justice League, but like Batman Detective. I like to try to collect some more of that. And then maybe Justice League, but that's what I've been focusing on. And also the original Star Wars, which they have all the way up to now. Problem with Star Wars is they started out as, I think, a independent, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, no, they started with Marvel Comics. Then they went to Dark Horse for many years. Then it was hit and miss on how much they made, and then they came back to Marvel here in the last few years, and they started with the new Legends series under the Disney banner. So you still have the Legends, just like I talked about in the book series, and you have that in the comic book series as well. Then you have the new, not 52 or anything like that, but the new canon is what they're starting up. And I've been trying to get as much of that as possible because if you read the books, the comic books fill in spots and then they actually do tie-ins and things like that. A book series I'm reading right now, They do tie-ins with a certain comic book series in Star Wars. It's not like I'm missing anything. It's just they actually, in the first book that I read of this trilogy, they had some of the comic book pages in there. Didn't really give you much. Sorry about that. But a little thirsty. A little tired this morning. So let me just go over some comic books that I've had since I was a kid. I don't think any of these are worth much. Now you got to remember, I owned these, so they were loved by a kid in the 70s. And I'm missing some. I don't know what happened to them. They might have got lost in several moves. But this is Marvel Triple Action. This is the Avengers, starring Captain America, Hawkeye, and Goliath. And the Wasp. And I really like back then the Avengers. They would tell you like which Avengers were in it. This is the first Avengers first encounter with the original Red Guardian. So I don't know if that means anything to anybody. I haven't looked any of these up because they're just sentimental. That's the only Marvels one. I mean, only Avengers one I had. I know I used to have a bunch of those. Not a bunch, a handful. Because I would, every time we went to our drugstore to pick up something, I would usually get a comic book and a little cheap toy. Back then it was all the pharmacies were mom and pop pharmacies, and they had a bunch of little tchotchkes and stuff in there. So this one is the Batman. This is just the Batman series. I didn't even want to open this one. I just put this with the hardback. It's a macabre mystery. The corpse came COD. So, but I just love that cover. I love that Batman. This is the only Batman I have from when I was a kid. I know I had not too many of those. To be honest, I wasn't a huge comic book guy, but I did. What I had a bunch of was the Archie's comic books, and with that coming back on CW's Riverdale and some other stuff, I've been looking for those, and I know a good amount of those, and I don't know what I did with them. I really love the Archies. Star Wars 1. 2, 3. Now, a neat story with this. So you'll see, it kind of took the artist up to like 3. The artist kind of took their own, what they thought was going to happen in the Star Wars movie, like how the characters looked. They probably saw pictures, but these books actually came out before the first Star Wars to promote the Star Wars movie. Here's 4, and you'll start seeing where they slightly start looking more and more like the people. 5. I forgot this one was stuck in the back. So I do have a Fantastic Four. I love the Fantastic Four cartoon when I was a kid. I know I had a few more. I'm sure they got destroyed, but I have this one, number 182, the world's greatest comic magazine, Fantastic Four. Nothing huge on this one, nothing big. It's just I love those covers, man. So just some comic books from when I was a kid. Again, wasn't a huge comic book reader as a kid growing up. I like to play with the toys a lot more. The biggest thing I had for Batman, if you're old enough they might still have viewfinders. I don't know. I used to have the whole Batman series on Viewfinder. I had Happy Days, stuff like that. I did find some of my Happy Days cards, my Gunsmoke cards. Uh, in my move, I couldn't find them when I got here, and finally, I've been really going through all my boxes here lately of cards and found those. I don't have. I have one Gunsmoke, and I plan on getting that one graded, uh, which was in my dad's stuff when I found his stuff, his cards. Battlestar Galactica. I love that show, and everything that was made for Battlestar Galactica was pretty cheap. It almost felt like knockoffs. And the cards even are like that. I wish I had them. I got a stack here, but I'm not gonna waste anybody's time by going through them. They just kind of it's kind of funny. I'm gonna send some of those to get graded. I'm sure they won't get graded very highly, but what I've been reading, what I've read this week, Walking Dead book, volume 27. They took on head on the Whispers in this one. Negan has already, uh, spoiler alert, close your ears, already taken out Alpha, and he did fight Beta in this one, and this one has got like 3 or 4 of the comics in one. Didn't want to collect all the comics, so I felt like this was a good way to still get some of the art, and I feel like the omnibus was just too big, because one of the girls, when I first was doing it, she was like, "Why don't you just buy the omnibus and catch up?" And I was like, "I like these. I like the art on these better." And also, this omnibus are pretty pricey, where this was not that bad. Very good story. Like by this, the Carl's a little older, wants to get in a fight. His daddy is so broken up now, he's not in it, but he's kind of like the behind the scenes architect of the fighting. And he does realize, like, Jesus comes back and tells him, as a character, comes back and tells him, like, hey, we fought them, we killed them all, we barely beat them. There was hundreds, maybe even 1,000 of the Walking Dead. And he realizes, you didn't kill them all, you didn't fight them yet. There was thousands of them when he saw them. So that's in the next one. I have that over there. I haven't started reading. Usually this one is just one sit down, knock it out, enjoy it, and go back through whatever. I've talked before. My comprehension of reading is sometimes, and I got away from reading when I moved here. I've been just so busy. I like to read to extend my vocabulary, stop using words I probably shouldn't be using, and also to help with memory as I get older. But my comprehension, it's always been an issue when I read. I'm sure in this day and age, I would have been some type of ADHD, whatever, attention, different, whatever. Say I can't even speak. That's why I read. So it's tough for me. My mind does wander. The book I'm reading right now is tough for me, and I'll get into that. I'm almost done with it, and I'll have at it on the next Nerdy Thursday. And it's a Star Wars book, of course, but I'll be going to. I usually switch genres every time I'm done with a book. So I read The Mandalorian one. I was going back and forth if I was going to read this or not. I bought this one. If you watch my Sunday night, I had Mike Moynihan. He brought up these type of ones, which are really cool. He showed me a bunch of these that he has. So I bought all of the at my local comic book store. I bought all the different versions of it that they had, and I went ahead and read it. I bought number 2, but it is just basically an outline of the season 1, which it says that's what it is. And I've already watched the season. Reading a comic book, it really didn't add anything to it. And after watching it, I like reading books of like movies and shows that I watch because it's more in depth. Like a lot of Star Wars, you get in the minds of some of the people of why they do things. You find out, why. Like uh, Force Awakens, it was really good because it went into more of Finn's background and why he was there, why he left the First Order, his best friend in the First Order, what was he thinking when he, countered him. It just goes in a little bit more in depth in it. I really enjoy that. So that's why I read those. But this one just didn't offer anything in that line. Uh, let's see. Purchases. I bought this actually. So I pre-ordered MLB The Show. I've had every one. I love that video game. Uh, it's easy. Yeah, like the year of COVID and strike, I have that. It's very very fun to play seasons in that. So I picked this up for next to nothing. I love zombie games. I already had the original Dead Island. I didn't have the complete definitive collection, and I picked this up for like $10. I think when I pre-ordered that game. I also had to get a cord for my Switch docking station to go to the TV. I don't know what I did with that. I have a box of cords. I went through it. I can't find it. Also, I talk about McKay's quite a bit. A store, pop culture store. They had this one traded in. I did not have this Batman. I try to get anything that resembles the 66 Adam West Batman. So you see those colors and stuff. This is the colors of 66, that bluish yellow. If you see a lot of Batman, it's usually dark black. They made this for kids. They put a lot of color in the show. It was kind of comic booky with the bang, boom, pow. So that's why they did it that way. Just to be more eye appealing on TV. And then when I went to that store, sorry about putting my face right up against this, but I have some figures sitting in front of me that I've been just having sitting here. So I thought it'd be pretty cool. I did get this with his gun. So I picked up a clone, just a clone, and it said on there, I've never seen it with the mud and the dirt. So I thought that was pretty cool. I got this guy for next to nothing. It came with a blaster. It also had the blue thing that's supposed to come off of here, but it's broken. I don't know if I'm going to try to glue it back on or just not worry about it. Probably just not worry about it. But I got that one for the clones. They did have a regular from 77 loose, but they were asking way too much, even with the gun. They were asking more than was on eBay. And I'm not going to pay eBay fee prices when I buy in person. You're going to have to come down a little bit because we're missing fees there. So, and it was more than that. But I picked up an AT-AT driver. This came with a gun too, and I don't remember it coming with a gun. So this would have been with the Empire Strikes Back Hoth. So that's when they were introduced. So I have the second, and then I got the First Order right here, which this is kind of, I don't even know. I don't remember seeing these in a movie. I think this is just somebody might be from a comic book. Who knows? But it came with all of its little gadgets. So I was happy with that. And then they have, so if you notice, I got a clone, a original Stormtrooper, and then I got a First Order Stormtrooper. So I covered the whole series of Stormtroopers. then they had this little dude, which they had plenty of these on card. If you see, there's a card in there, right? You know, I love my cards. I might, when I go back, pick up another one of these to break it out and see if they got another, like, and I noticed when I got home and I didn't really check the back, they cut somebody who had these. They must have bought them when it started and they took all of these off and they must have mailed it in to get a figure. I think it's how you get there's a gold figure. I never seen these metal ones before. I didn't know that. I saw it. It caught my eye. It's got weight to it. It was pretty cool. It almost reminds me of like a figure for like if you're playing like a tabletop game or something like that. Almost like blocks or one of those heavier miniatures games. Which I always wanted to get into the Starfighter game for it, but just never had any friends. I did get offered to enter one out in Iowa, just never took them up on it. The way I work, it was pretty tough. And then I really love this package. I've showed this before on here, but you can see it's the from the original New Hope Stormtrooper that's in when they had Princess Leia in the jail there. So this is a Stormtrooper, and it just shows the back. I just kind of like that packaging. I think this is from like 1994 or something like that. So they had a lot of package like on card stuff from like 94 on. I noticed before that was loose stuff and not much. They had a TIE fighter, they had an AT-AT, they had that type of things. I just couldn't pull the price. They weren't in the best condition. If that they had the TIE fighter for 110, I had in mind like if it was like in the 60, 70 range, I was going to pull a trigger. 110 just seems for the condition it was in. Again, very comparable to what it was going on eBay. But again, I'm not paying eBay fees in person. I think people forget that sometimes. I think these people at these like yard sale, everybody's got smartened up to eBay comps and people going in there and buying stuff and flipping it and making money. And they're saying, screw that. I'm going to do it myself. If you're going to do it, I can sell it at that price. But they're doing it at eBay comps, not realizing there's a percentage that goes to eBay that you lose. It's tough. It's and I'm not missing out. I had the TIE fighter when I was a kid. It's not like I never had one. So I'll just I just wait. You just wait. Things have I waited years for a certain card to come down. I'll have that in a future episode. But I just not going to do it. So till next time, I'm going to start saying this like everybody else because I think this is a very smart point. You can see how happy I am when I do these shows because I buy what I love and love what I buy. So when I get it in my house, I'm not worried about what's the resale value. I'm not worried about that. Now, when I go to resell it, I will, but I don't see me reselling any of this unless I got to downsize again and things like this would be gone. My figures will probably be out if I have to downsize again. I've already kind of I'm down to what would be tough. Anything I get rid of now, my collection. So it would probably be a lot of video games and my figures. It would be the next things to go. That would be tough. And that kind of makes me open up to the point, maybe a suggestion of what to write below. If you had to downsize, do you know what you would have to get rid of? Have you figured that out? If you're a collector like me, do you know like what you would cut out of your collection? Let me know down below. Till next time, like, share, tell a friend, subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you